Hey, happy Friday. Is it Friday? Yeah, it's Friday. Hey, how's it going? Happy Friday. Welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing? You're probably wondering, like, what the heck is going on? It's not Saturday. It's definitely not Saturday. But today is Friday. I talked about this a little bit last week, but a lot of changes going on in my personal life, and I started working for myself, and so I'm just switching some stuff around. So today I'm actually going to test out streaming on Friday instead of Saturday. So I used to have two jobs, one of which was YouTube, another one was a software engineer, and so I kind of flip-flopped them, where it was kind of like I'd say about 60-40 software engineer. It was about I'd say about 120 and about I don't know what's left over 80 was software engineer / YouTube. And instead of doing 200% of I guess two jobs, I'm trying to do 100% of two jobs. So I kind of flipped it around. Anyways, long story short, today, if you're wondering, is not my day off because my job is no longer software engineer full time. Today is actually my day on for YouTube stuff and Twitch stuff and just me, the stuff I want to do. So I decided to flip flop it and go with streaming on Friday. We're gonna try this out. So rather than on Saturday, so I can have like my first weekend in I don't know, years, years outside of travel and vacation. But even then, the expectation for me was, well, I'm on vacation. That kind of stinks. I'm missing out. I'm not streaming. I'm not releasing videos and now I'm gonna kind of like just switch it up. So, anyways, my day job for most of the week is the stuff you're seeing now. I mentioned this last week, and then still doing some stuff on the side, some consulting, contracting work, and so I'm still putting food on the table. But I'm gonna test this out. Anyways, that's not what today's about. Today's about you guys. So how's it going, man? I know that there's probably people too that can join the stream that normally couldn't. So on Saturday, some people can't join for all kinds of reasons. Because it's Saturday, because they have families, because they have things they have to do, other commitments, totally fine. And then on top of that, it was at 3 CST, Chicago time, Minneapolis time, which made it late in Europe. That's 9, 10, 11 o'clock. And further on, if you're further east than there, if you're in Asia and if you're in Australia, it's way upside down. So at least this time, I think, is a little bit more inclusive. Friday, I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. So anyways, that's what we're going to do today. And I do apologize if this is during your work week. You can show or work day. You can show show your hand if you're doing this during work or invisible hand or just raise it. But I do apologize. Anyways, I'll be charging your guys' cost center to continuing education. Just send me your cost center number and I'll send it there and we'll get this worked out. No, don't show your real hand. All right. I like it. That's fine. So, anyways, today we're gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna run this like a Saturday. We'll see how that goes, but there might be some changes. 804, yes, I love it. There's your cost center. All right, I'll be sending you guys a bill to your cost center. I just charged there. I don't even know. I feel like it should be the other way around. But anyways, yeah, we're gonna run this like a Saturday, like my normal Saturday, and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, anyways, we're gonna keep this roughly an hour. We're only about 5 minutes in. I started about 10 minutes late, so yeah, we'll start end about 10 minutes after. So, anyways, around there. So, anyways, wow, there was a hype train in the beginning. Thank you guys so much. There was subs and resubs. So let's take a look at these really quick. CBN, I'll go back because there was a couple follows right before I started the stream. So Drecker, Mad Max, thank you guys both for the follows. CBN Sandwich, hey, tier 1, 13 month streak. Yeah, you see you got the new headphone badge too. I think you got a yellow one. So over a year, thank you so much. I spy with my little eye. I assume that was in reference to me going live on a Friday. Thank you. Randoneering, how's it going, man? Resub Prime, 7 months streak. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be able to watch this stream. Morning peeps and afternoon, good evening to those elsewhere. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. You're one of the peeps that couldn't make it here on Saturday, so I appreciate it. So yeah, so thanks for being here. Thanks for the resub, man. Jenna Ryan, resub, tier 1, 32 months. Jeez, let's go, man. Dude, Thank you. 32 months, almost at 3 years. Thank you so much. Bill Nash, how's it going? Tier 1, 16 months. Sup, nerds? I wouldn't expect anything less than sup, nerds. So thank you so much, Bill Nash. So, yeah, thank you guys. I don't know. I feel like I already talked about kind of what I've been working on. I've been working on a whole long list of things. So I threw this out in Discord earlier this week, and I think it was last week actually now. But just trying to figure out, how I manage my workflow and my tasks that I have. And you guys threw out some great suggestions. I'm still working off a Trello board for like my personal stuff. I feel like there might be a better way, but it's simple enough. I just wish Trello would actually let you hide a column. Anyways, I'm not gonna rant about that, but it's such a simple feature where they could just like help me out so much by just adding a way to hide a dang column. Anyway, so all my stuff's there. I don't know. I've been checking out a couple other things. ClickUp. It seems like it's way too full featured for what I need to do. Anyways, I've been working through my tasks. I would love to show you my board someday of it, like everything that I work on and think through. It spans the gamut from blog posts to social media posts to Twitch to YouTube to Mastodon to self-hosting stuff in Kubernetes to actually then research stuff that I want to do for my own personal knowledge or learning, and then stuff I want to do for YouTube. It's all over the place. Anyways, I'm working on. Actually, I was supposed to work on it today. I still have to figure out how this goes. But working on the next video. I would love to get it out tomorrow. We'll see. But then we'll see. But pretty cool stuff. It's a whole bunch of, I don't know, basically I haven't figured out the title yet, but something around getting some automation help. I'll put it that way. Basically getting a DevOps engineer for free type scenario. So anyways, working through that. So yeah, so what are you guys working on? Throw it in the chat. Let's talk about it. We got some time to talk about it. I'd love to hear what your weekend plans are, things that you're struggling with, maybe things you have questions about or things you're excited about or just want everyone's take on it. Throw it in chat and let's talk about it for sure. So we'll get into chat here now. So yeah, thank you guys. Let's see. This was me testing. Jenna Ryan, Ack, thank you so much. First in the chat. Thank you so much on a Friday. Thank you for being here. Randoneering, hello, just waiting for the stream. Thanks, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't seen you in the stream in a while because you usually can't make Saturdays, so I appreciate it, man. How you doing? Sigor, hey, yeah, a lot of familiar names. Smee Productions. Hey Tim, long time no see. Hey, good to see you too. Probably someone who can't join when it's on a Saturday, and maybe possibly your evening or on Saturday in your afternoon. So I appreciate you being here. Let's see, DGD. Gabgobi. That's hard for me to say. Hey, how's it going? Lots of haze. How's it going? Surprise stream? Kind of a surprise stream. Yeah, I'd say for the most part it's a surprise stream. Because very few people saw my notification yesterday that said, hey, I'm going to try this on a Friday and we'll see how it goes. Man, my hair's like bugging me. So I won't go into it. But I don't know if you guys knew, but I had really long hair. Well, I shaved it all off. And now I'm in that awkward phase of like, my hair's not fully back. It's kind of shaved, but I kind of want to get it back a little bit. Anyways, long story. I shaved my head and I'm in that awkward, like hair's kind of getting long, not long enough to like fit back in my hat, but kind of getting there. And it looks super weird. So anyways, I keep the hat on anyways. So Never Fear, Boris is here. Yo, how's it going? Let's see. Never Fear, Boris is here. So, how did the K3S update go? Oh yeah, so you saw my I don't know, it was a tweet last night. It went fine. So I'm on Kubernetes 1.25.11 now. I run 3 clusters. The one I'm going to talk about for all intents and purposes is at 1.25.11. So I noticed I was at 9. There was a tiny, version, a patch update to 11. I thought, let's go for it. So I did it, I don't know, last night, 10 o'clock at night, local time, Chicago time, Minneapolis time. And so it went fine. It went totally fine. I shouldn't say totally fine. For some reason, one of my Postgres databases is in a crash loop. One of 3. So I run 3 replicas of my database in Kubernetes. I know it's crazy, but it works great. And one of the three is in a crash loop. And usually when that happens, I can delete the pod. The pod will come back up. It'll say, hey, I'm out of sync with my replicas. Let's sync and let's do this and get up to date. It's not doing that. And I've killed it a couple of times. So anyways, gonna figure that out today. But otherwise, yeah, went fine. I am on Kubernetes 1.25. I think that's their main or stable branch. I know 1.26 is out and 1.27's out. Which is like Edge and Bleeding Edge. But I'm going to stay on this stable branch for a little bit until, I don't know. I don't know. The numbers are hard. I'm going to stay on one that a lot of clouds are using because I feel like that's pretty stable. So am I going to get Bleeding Edge stuff? Probably not. Am I going to use Bleeding Edge stuff? Probably not. So I'm going to stay on 1.25 until 1.26 is this, I don't know, stable. I don't know how they version it. And each cloud has their own. Each cloud like AWS, GCP, Azure, they fork their version of Kubernetes. And so, they have their own distribution. And at some point, they raise the API level to 1.25 or 2.6, 2.7, whatever. So I'm staying there for now. But it went fine. Is it Saturday? No, it's not Saturday. I'm actually glad it's not Saturday. This is a lot of talking for me. This is a lot of energy for me at 10 o'clock in the morning. Not like it's early. But for me, it's early to have this much energy, and my voice is still I have my morning voice, because I usually don't say a word. I just talk to my wife in the morning, and, but after that, I'm quiet until, I don't know, noon, maybe 1. So I still have my morning voice on, so bear with me. Phantom Way, how's it going? Hello. Oh look, blinky. Yeah, it is Friday Day. I like it. It is Friday Day. I'll take that. Chunk Norris, hey, how's it going? Lots of party hype train tests. Let's see. This intro beat slaps. It does slap pretty hard. I like it. That's why I always choose that one. I have 3 lined up for my intro. I used to rotate them, but now I'm like, I kind of like it. I agree. It slaps pretty hard. That term is now, or phrase is now in my vocab, because I've seen it used a few times, and I'm like, okay, I get how it's used now. Nah, I'm getting old. Let's see. Yeah, what are you guys working on today? Yeah, throw it in chat. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna try to usher through this chat and get on to topics. Not that I don't like all the greetings and salutations, but I want to make sure that we're getting to what we need to talk about. Hello. Yeah, live stream that you're able to catch, and we trust. I don't know about that one. Working on I-18N for my app today. Ooh, I-18N. So internationalization. See that shortening. The I-18N is, if you don't know, short for internationalization. You guys probably know this because you're in IT. Just like Kate's is short for Kubernetes. And accessibility is A11Y for accessibility. I think this old way of shortening stuff, where they thought that it was a lot better to throw the number of characters total in the name than it was to write it all out. Anyways, internationalization, fun for an app. Fun. I've done it for web, and I've done it for mobile. And I use a JavaScript internationalization library. Maybe you're using it too, and it's pretty fun. I think I used React I-18N, I think, like that. Or I used I18N.js and then used React components for it. But pretty fun. Yeah, pretty fun. I worked on a web app. I guess I should say I still do, for a company that I work for. And we did internationalization, and it worked out well. We have English, Spanish, I should say US Spanish, and then Canadian, French Canadian, I should say. No, Canadian. But Canadian French, I guess I should say, because we are and do support stuff in Canada, and then as well as the US, but we wanted to support more languages. So super fun. It's fun to figure out. It's also fun to get translations too. We went through this phase where it's like, well, do we do Google Translate, or do we, hire someone off of Fiverr, and what do we do? Google Translate's pretty good, but it doesn't always have the greatest context. So there's stuff left to be desired. If you use some homonym or homophone or some conjugation of a verb or something, it might not be the same thing as what people are expecting, especially on websites. So Yeah, you have to let me know what you did there, CBN Sandwich. If you went out to Fiverr and hired someone or some other, translation service, or you just went to Google Translate. I will say though, I had to fill in some holes from using Google Translate. I think it turned out fine. Lucas, hello from Portugal. Hello from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's see. Here we go. Zendi. I'm trying to virtualize my Windows 11 PC on Proxmox 8 PV2 style. Whoa, interesting. So cool. So a couple of things going on there. One, virtualizing Windows 11. Not hard. It's I shouldn't say it's not hard. It's there's a few quirks about it. You got to set up your EFI partition and stuff like that. So yeah, should work out fine. I do have Windows 11 virtualized in Proxmox 8 because I recently did the upgrade, but I haven't tried it on a fresh install. So what I've noticed sometimes I the last two major versions I got pretty lucky and did the upgrade and the upgrade worked fine and GPU pass through, all of my VMs work. But sometimes I've noticed like on my test cluster, like the way you do it on a new install doesn't always work with the same settings from one that was migrated, and that's probably me. But anyways, awesome. Let me know how that goes. Should be good. Should be good. Bomdia. Bomdia. I need Google Translate right now. Did I miss something? Today's Friday. Yeah, you did miss something. Today's Saturday. What are you doing at work? Why are you working? It's Saturday. That's right. Workday. I like it. It is work day for me. It's a work day for me, as it is for you. That's right. If this is work, can this really be considered work? Not for me. I hate to call it work. Even when I was talking about, switching from doing software engineering to, doing whatever this is. I need to come up with a name for whatever this is, because it's not just YouTube. It's not just Twitch. It's, I don't know. Whatever this is that I'm doing, doesn't feel like work. Editing sometimes videos does feel like work. Like right now, it's like I have my storyline and everything, but just editing like all of the B-roll and stuff, I'm just like, oh, this feels like work. But at the end of the day, I'm editing videos, and it's exactly what I wanted to do, so it doesn't really feel that much like work. So, let's see, any great self-hosted internationalization management system? So we're speaking of internationalization. I don't know. So the way that I've done it in the past is I've built. It depends on how you architect your application. So you can do it a couple of ways. Like the way that I've done it, we've done client-side React code. Those translation files or locales live in the app, and then based on the user's language preference or the way that they toggle it, they can choose which version of a language to support, and that's for client side. So you gotta build those locales in the app. You gotta have some kind of JS library like React Internationalization, or just I think I18N JS, something like that, and then wire up all that code to switch automatically. Or if you're gonna do that all server side, which if you're doing server side code, that front end has to go and grab the locales, and on top of that, pass in a query param possibly to say, hey, give me locales in this language each time they switch, or based on their browser preference. So I don't know if there's a self-hosted option. We've always done it with custom code because we're writing the service that returns those values anyway. So I don't know if like using a third party. Okay, now I can see where you're going. Maybe you have an app that has it's only in English, and you want to do dynamic translations, and maybe you want to use something in between. I'm not sure. Sounds cool. Also, it might be tough because of the things I talked about earlier. Maybe you're when you ask for a translation, it's going to be the wrong context or something like that. But anyways, I'm curious to know. I've done internationalization, like I said, for some apps and services, and we've always, we're writing the APIs and the backends to do it. Well, we host them, and we write the code for the backends, we write the code for the front ends, and so we just figure it out that way. But our translations aren't dynamic. We're not like going to Azure or Google and saying, hey, translate this in real time. We have a set of known things that we support different languages for, like buttons, call to actions, subtitle, headers, all that stuff. So we translate ahead of time. But so going back to this, but having issues with graphics card pass-through. So this is what I was just talking about, like saying like, hey, my migrations have always been fine. I've upgraded from, I think, 6 to 7 to 8, and I'm still running the same instance. And so I have no problems. But that's what I was saying. Like sometimes I've noticed that sometimes if you just start with 8 and then try GPU pass-through or something, things may or may not work. But let me know. Let me know what it is. I mean, I have a guide. I know Proxmox has a guide. I know everyone has a guide on how to do it. And, I'm sure you've exhausted all of those things. I would just say, if you can, look at my guide, not only because I tell what to click, but I also show my config file. And in that config file for your VM, you'll see some settings that maybe are harder to see in the UI. And so, copying and pasting some of my pasta into your copy pasta might help. Might not. But if you've exhausted everything, hey, it's worth a shot. Guess I'll be distracted from work for a bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if, yeah. Oh, yeah. Must be a PTO day. No, not PTO. I'm on the clock. I think I'm on the clock. I mean, I'm on my clock, not someone else's clock anymore. Work is overrated. It is overrated. And plus, people listen to music and podcasts while they work. And so just treat it like that. PC Geek, how's it going, man? Working on some game server stuff with Pterodactyl and 7 Days to Die. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Pterodactyl. I still have my panel running, but I don't have any game instances running because I don't have anyone who wants to play my games. I would love to run game servers if people were interested. I would love to host that. I would love to. So if you're interested in playing a specific game, throw it in Discord and in chat here, and I would love to host it. And you want to play somewhere but don't have the infrastructure to do it, I would love to host it. Because I love that stuff. That's another big reason why I started getting into self-hosting. One was to self-host my blog way back in the day, and then it was to self-host games. Old games, which are really old now. Penetrator. I just installed Nextcloud on Proxmox and built the template as a container. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. So now you have built-in template as a container. Awesome. So Nextcloud, you have it ready to go. You can duplicate instances. Awesome. Yeah, Nextcloud, pretty fun for sure. Especially if you're going to use it, kind of like I would say a Dropbox or a Drive replacement. Awesome. Especially for editing docs too, because then you can keep it. You keep all your data at home. Versus in the cloud, someone else's cloud. Keep it in your own cloud or the next cloud. Never fear. Boris is here. Not when it plays for my house, homelab. Wait, hold on. Never fear. It's overrated. Oh, I see. And not not when it pays for my house and homelab. Yeah, I agree. That's the tough thing. I'm still trying to figure out too. How do I pay for stuff with different income stream, I should say. But yeah, it's tough. I agree that work is. I don't want to say overrated because it's not. Like, you need to put food on the table. You need to. I don't know. Some people do it to put food on the table. Some people do it to learn, to build a career. Some people do it to socialize, and some people do it to as a combination of all those things. And I've always done it as a combination of all those things to meet new people, to get new experiences, to grow my own career, to grow my knowledge. And to put food on the table. So things are a little bit different now. Still trying to figure it out. This week is my first full week of doing me stuff. So still trying to figure that out. It's tough. Jenna Ryan, I'm off next week. Not even looking in the direction of production systems, just poking lab boxes. Yeah, so you're off next week. So you're in the U.S. Holiday next week, the 4th of July. And then what's that? Tuesday. And so I think a lot of people are either going to take the whole week off, or the beginning of the week off, or they're going to take the rest of the week off. I don't know. Take some time off because it's 4th of July. It's summer. Summer is here for sure. But yeah, don't look at production systems. Mute your Teams notifications. Mute your Slack notifications. if you're going on vacation, mute them all, and just do mentions only, and even ignore hears and channels. Only DMs. Hey, Marnux, hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Welcome. Chunk Norris, might play around with Cilium and Service Mesh on OpenStack if I've got time. Awesome, I haven't done anything with Cilium or Service Mesh in general. I would love to get into that to play it. It's pretty deep down the rabbit hole for me. I have considered it for my Kubernetes cluster, not only just to connect different clouds together, but also just to mesh my services together and, get secure connections between pods, which is something, most Kubernetes pods don't have. Most people don't ship their pods with certificates. So pod to pod communication is usually unencrypted. And so you got to bring in systems that can help you with that. And some of those are service meshes. And while most of those focus on, I think, cloud to cloud or point to point, that point to point could be in cluster too. So awesome. Yeah, I need to get into it for sure. But it sounds fun. To my boss. Yeah, I'm virtual training. Yeah, that's right. This is a training session. That should be the title of the stream. Training session. I like it. Let's see. Don't look at the light. There you go. Thank you. Let's see. Hey. Let's see. Yeah, Tim's just fixing his hair. I know. I know. It's like I said, I'm in this weird phase because I did have long hair. I had a pulled back in a ponytail. It was long. It was probably down to my chin. Shaved it all off a couple weeks ago. And now I'm in that weird like in between phase. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Let's see. Probably inhaling a sandwich because the only time he has. No, I wish I had a sandwich right now. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I had a sandwich. It's weird. I don't usually eat lunch if I work from home or on the weekends. I usually skip it. The only time my wife's been bringing me lunch, or she'll ask, and then I'll say okay. But typically I don't. For some reason when I get focused on something, I just don't eat. And I need to remind myself to eat sometimes. but if I'm not focusing on something, I'm focusing on eating. So it kind of goes both ways. It's good for me to focus on something else. Otherwise, I'm just gonna eat nonstop. But yeah. So usually, yeah, like weekends, I don't eat lunch at all. I'll just wait for dinner. But then I'll eat a lot of dinner. It's probably not the best thing to do. It's like intermittent fasting, but then also intermittent gorging. I don't know. Probably not good. Continuing education. I like it. That is the where we're going to charge this. Which cost center we're going to charge this to. Continuing education. I like it. JD does dev. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah, it is Saturday somewhere. Oh, let's see. It is. I would say it is. It is. That's true. I think it is now. I think like starting like a half hour ago. Because I think 14 hours ahead, I think like Tokyo, Japan, I think right now it's like, I think 12:30. I don't know. I can't do math right now. It actually it is. 12 hours. I don't know. It is. I'm just, well, maybe not. I don't know. It's not. Maybe. I don't know. No, it's evening in like Australia right now. So no, it can't be. Maybe it is. I don't know. Somewhere. I don't know where the international date line is. Right before that. I don't think it is. Japan is 17 for California, and it's usually 14, I think, from Chicago. So that's ahead. So it'd be 12:30 p.m., I think, roughly. I think. I'm bad at date math. Date math in general, you guys know it's hard. Like, I shouldn't even be, like, stressing about not being able to do date math because it's, like, the hardest type of math there possibly is. So, okay, New Zealand. All right. It's 3:40 a.m. I like it. Wait, a.m.? Is it? All right. I'm not going to do date math anymore. I got it when it's when it's daytime, p.m. here. Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. I'm Chicago time. Mostly when I say Chicago time, people are like, "Oh, okay, I know what time that is." I'm in Minnesota, Minneapolis, but we're the same as Chicago time. Urban, Urban Cat. Hey, thanks. Congrats. I assume that was about working for myself. It is. It is. It's pretty awesome. Now you have 3 jobs. I think I do have 3 jobs. I do have 3 jobs, but my allocation has changed. Like I said, it was 100%. It was 100% software dev for a company, and then it was, I'd say, about 80%. Whatever this is, 80% Techno Tim. And then about 20% other things, like random stuff, like more learning stuff and education stuff that I need to keep abreast of. And that's kind of plays into my job, but kind of plays into Techno Tim stuff too. So it's instead of having 200% allocation, I'm trying to get to around 110% and try to divide that all up. So yeah, it's interesting for sure. 3 Pork Chop Express. I know plenty of homelabbers have had their success, but I'm having a heck of time passing through a P2200 on a VM with a Plex Docker container and Proxmox. Ooh, you went you went all the way to be used for transcoding. Any recommended tutorials? I've tried several, just stuck. So yeah, this one's tough because what you're trying to do is first pass through that GPU to a VM, and then from that VM pass it through to a Docker container. So just real quick on steps, things you can check. There's progress or checkpoints you could do along the way. Once you pass it through to your VM, check. Does it work? Go into that VM. Run NVIDIA SMI. You know, that's a quick tool. Don't run the Docker version of NVIDIA SMI. Run the apt install version of NVIDIA SMI just to make sure that it works. If that works, okay, it's passed through to the virtual machine. Then you got to go the Docker way, which Docker then uses, you got to install that NVIDIA Docker runtime container, get that going, and then try to run NVIDIA SMI in a Docker container. I mean, I have separate tutorials on both of those, but not one that does both. But I do have one. I have documentation and I have my config files. I think if you just look like, I don't know, if you go to my docs page, it's no longer my docs page, another change. If you just go to technotim.live and type in GPU Docker in search, you should find it. And that, for the most part, should work. But man, there's a lot of passing down going on. But I like it. Let's see. Now you get to babysit all of us. That is true. I'm maybe not. You guys are fine on your own. You don't need babysitters. Maybe you do. Chunk Norris, good for me. Perfect time. It's 5 p.m. here. All right, that's what I like to hear, because a lot of times when I do 3 p.m. For Europe, it's too late. It's too late to the point where they're either out doing stuff, doing dinner, doing bed. One of them. Mark, Trunk Labs. Hey, long time no see. Real talk. I have a bunch of Mac Minis to deploy apps to. How do I manage it? I thought through Kate's, but I heard it's slow on a Mac Mini. For now, I'm leaning towards Colima plus Docker CLI plus Ansible for configuration and deployment. Maybe there's something better. So, I mean, honestly, real talk, I would not try to roll your own Kubernetes, which is kind of sounds like what you're doing. I don't know what Colima is, but I assume it's some, deployment mechanism or some kind of CD piece. The Docker CLI, which, then you're spinning up containers, and then Ansible for config and deployment, which you're trying to automate all of that. And what you're trying to do, what it sounds like you're doing, is basically building what Kubernetes does for you, but getting less, I should say, but getting less. Why do I say but getting less? Because you're not getting load balancers, you're not getting easy ways to scale up, scale down, your replicas. You got to deal with local storage for all of these things, with your volume mounts, or you're storing them as Docker storage volumes. So I would say so Mac Minis, it depends on which one you have. I assume you have Intels, or otherwise you wouldn't be asking. But if you have M1s, it's going to be blazing fast. But I don't think you have a way to do that yet easily with Linux. So honestly, Mac Minis are decent, and depending on the apps and the workloads that you're running, should be fine. I have an Intel Mac Mini from 2012, and it still builds an app in Android and iOS. I mean, it's that old, and it's running Mac OS, old version. I think Catalina is that old. But if I threw Linux on it, it would scream. It would scream and be fine. throw an SSD in there, throw some RAM, and I think it's going to be fine. So if you have a bunch of Mac Minis, honestly, what I would do is I would personally, if I had to run a cluster on Mac Minis, what would I do? I would put Linux on all of them. I would do bare metal Kubernetes, and I would make it work. And rather than trying to figure out my own deploy pipeline, my own how do I load balance, figure out storage, figure out my deployment, and all of that. Why? Because it works. It's great. Yes, it's complicated, but what I think you're building might be complicated too, and you might be on your own. You might be on your own. What do I mean by on your own? You're building your own deployment pipeline and your own app engine and using, a whole bunch of tools to do one thing that you might not have a lot of help on. It's your own homegrown thing. Then what happens if you got to teach someone else something? Well, you got to teach them this own homegrown thing, and then it becomes tribal knowledge, and then it just becomes like every other custom thing that's out there. Not saying that your own Kubernetes deployment wouldn't have some kind of, tribally knowledge to it too, but for the most part, if you have an error in Kubernetes, you can Google it and look it up and mostly figure it out. So anyways, and the other reason why I would do this is because you say you have a bunch of Mac Minis, you can scale Kubernetes really easily. Yeah, you know how easy it is to scale Kubernetes? You just add another node. And what happens when you add another node? Your workloads get dispersed across those nodes. So you can scale horizontally really easy. I'm not talking about, the pods that are running in there and maybe the services that you have aren't technically architected in a way that they can scale, but the cluster itself can scale. Meaning that if you are running out of RAM, running out of disk space, or running out of compute, CPU, you just add another node. Just buy another $200 Intel Mac Mini that's they're going for pennies now. Throw Linux on it, join it to the cluster, you got another one. You run out of space or compute or RAM, do another one, and another one, and another one. And so that's kind of why I would say, like, I probably wouldn't roll it myself. I would probably go the Kubernetes route. If you're scared about, how to support Kubernetes, how to run Kubernetes, or even just what Kubernetes is, I get it. But I personally would be more scared about the home rolled thing than not. So I know this is homelab. So maybe I'm just talking out, the wrong end. And I get it. And maybe you want to learn about, Colima and Docker CLI and Ansible. Totally fine. I get it. But if you wanna learn Kubernetes, I would say it will be time well spent. It will be time well spent for sure, because then you'll start to understand how it works and how great it is at doing a lot of the things that you might be trying to automate yourself. Anyways, I don't mean to be on a soapbox, but I would say if you're gonna put time into learning something, I would put time into learning that for sure, because it'll pay off. It'll pay off for sure. It will. But Mark, Trunk Labs, go for it. I mean, if you know more about Colima, Docker CLI, and Ansible and want to learn and do all that, go for it. But if you're asking for my opinion, what would I do in that scenario? That's what I would do. And not so much because I know it. Because there was a time when I didn't know it, but I forced myself to learn it because I knew that it would help me in the future. And so that's the kind of the boat I was in. You got to pay up front to learn this, but then after you do, it's pretty awesome. Anyways, 4 p.m. here. All right. Stream on Friday. Heck yeah. Works for me in the UK. Nice change. All right. I'm liking this. Penetrator. Thank you. Let's see. Question. I have a Blink mini camera. I'd like to use it. It's mustache hairs. You don't have a mustache, you wouldn't understand. Sometimes they point straight up, and when you talk, they like poke you in every direction possible. It's not a pick. It's a mustache hair. Anyways, I have Blink mini cameras. I'd like to use it, but I hate the Blink app, and it won't allow me to record or capture video from it. I've tried things like Home Assistant or things like it, but most don't support Blink, and I don't have the features I like, capturing live video locally on my desktop. Do I have suggestion? So I don't know enough about Blink, but I will say this. So if you have a RTSMP or RTSP, or I forget what the acronym, I think it's RTMP or RTSMP or whatever. If you can stream from a web endpoint on that Blink camera, there are options. There are options for all kinds of stuff. That opens a whole host of NVRs, I guess I should say, for you. If you've tried Home Assistant, most likely likely it doesn't, unless you didn't realize that you have this endpoint that you can stream from. So one, I would look at Blink. Does Blink have an RTMP endpoint that you can pull the video from or pull that video stream from? If they do, you're in a good spot, because then you could use things like, you can use Home Assistant. You just can't use like a Blink integration. You can use a generic camera integration, or you can use something like Scripted. Scripted is something I did a video on too, which supports a ton of cameras. And a ton of integrations too. It might be worth looking into. I don't know if they have a direct integration with Blink, or if they're falling back to an RTMP stream. You could try that. And I know you're saying that you don't have most features. So, yeah. So that would be my suggestion. See how you can pull video off of Blink without going through their service. If you can, it opens the door to a ton of stuff like Home Assistant, like Scripted, like, you name it, Blue Iris, or even Frigate, or anything like that. If you can't, then that's tougher. You might have to hope that someone created some kind of integration somewhere that can interact with it. So, but I would try that. If it has that endpoint, you're in a good state. If it doesn't, that's tough. Oh, let's see. This time works for me. 1:13 a.m. Saturday morning, Friday night. I'll be able to catch this live stream instead of watching the replay. All right. Well, 1 in the morning. Okay. I'm sorry. Well, you're saying it's working. Okay, I like it. 1:13 a.m. All right. Boris, kids, mostly kids. Kids say it. They will be fun, and they say it. The next thing you know, I can't lab and watch Techno. Yeah. It's 1 a.m. here. All right. So it is. All right. How's the weather? Good call. I'm off my game. We didn't talk about weather. Weather here it's warming back up. So we had this dip. It got a little bit cooler. We got a lot of rain, and now it's going back up to hot and humid. Not to mention, we have so much smoke here from Canada. It's been bad. Like our air quality's been hovering close to, I don't know, 180, 190, 200. Today the air quality probably is contributing to my voice. Is let's see, what is it right now? The air quality 55, moderate. So they said this would happen. There's some high pressure that's coming around, and some other things that are happening. I think some rain somewhere, and it's basically blowing that smoke somewhere else. So air quality is definitely better today, but the last 2 days it's been so smoky that it looks like you went swimming and didn't wear goggles and opened your eyes underwater, and you know chlorine gets in there, and everything's foggy everywhere. So, because we're pretty far up north up here. So, but other than that, it's getting hot and humid again. It's starting to feel like late summer. It's felt like late summer all summer, I feel like. So, let's see. Maybe this is a dumb question, but can I connect my Xiaomi lights with Home Assistant? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, I know what the Xiaomi lights are, but I don't know if you can connect them to Home Assistant. If they're based on Tuya, yes. Which I think a lot of lights, that are a lot of lights are rebranded, but all still use Tuya. But I don't know if Xiaomi are. But I would look in there, go into Home Assistant, go in their integrations, and search for Xiaomi, or Google Xiaomi and Tuya. Maybe they use Tuya behind the scenes. So maybe you might be there. Yeah, I know. This is getting into here. Hey, Tim, love your work. Going to restructure my home lab based on your network as code model. Cool. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm not full infrastructure as code. I do have a lot of my infrastructure as code, but it starts from the VMs up. So I don't have my VMs codified. Guess I should say. Don't have my VMs codified. I rarely redeploy them. I'm making a whole bunch of excuses right now, but I have templates in Proxmox. I rarely redeploy them, and I rarely create more, unless for testing, but that's what I have templates for. So, yeah, I would love to codify everything up to there so that I can just say, hey, go and deploy and rebuild my whole entire infrastructure, but that's a lot of time. You guys know it. It's like the trade-off on time. It's one thing to say, yes, infrastructure code, absolutely the way. If you don't do it, you're doing it wrong. Well, that's not really pragmatic, and for the most part, wherever you work, they're not paying you to just, well, maybe they are if you're in this role, but for the most part, you're not just there to just convert all of your infrastructure as code. Maybe you are. But at some point, I got to be pragmatic about it and say, okay, these are the things that are painful. I'm gonna codify and automate the painful things. And when the less painful things become more painful and take up more time, then I'll automate and codify those. So it's always this trade-off. I don't know. I've started to get a little more pragmatic as I work for more and more startups, because I get it. Like, limited resources, you're trying to grow a business, and sometimes converting all of your infrastructure as code isn't growing your business. So it's tough. It's a tough balance. So, but yeah. Anyways, going back to this, thank you. I hope you get it done. You'll have to let me know, and if you can anonymize it and scrub it of secrets, you should share it. I'd love to see it for sure. Let's see. What's up with Red Hat changing things up? Nuts. Yeah, it is definitely. It's yeah. I've heard so many things about it, and I won't go too far into it. I've heard things about it. It's a tough call, no matter what side you're on. It's tough for Red Hat to make that call, and it's tougher if you're on the open source side or downstream or upstream or anything. It's a tough time for a lot of people, a lot of businesses too, and it is tough. It is tough. I'm just gonna put it there. Company's gonna company. That is right. Company's gonna company. Speaking of, that is right. Company's gonna company. Yeah. I don't want to get too far into it, but it's tough because, it's, I try to be pragmatic and look at most things from both sides, and I try to be fair and look at things from both sides. And, me working for a startup, I would think like, man, this, what if I work for a startup and, I don't know, I don't want to get into it, but, times are tough for a lot of companies, and some companies, more than others. And I know a lot of engineering places are having hard times right now. And I'm not talking about specifically Red Hat, but just in general. Hired a lot of people during the pandemic, and a lot of changes going on, a lot of changes in the economy, a lot of changes in the world economy. And so things are just changing rapidly. And, and it's tough to run a business. I'll say that, especially when you get to a huge business. Little changes can make a ton of impact. And so, I'm talking about this generically, but it's tough. I work for small startups, on the verge of shutting down, sometimes. And sometimes you have to make choices to stay afloat. I'm not saying that's what Red Hat's doing. I'm just talking like generically about working for startups. Sometimes you got to focus on making money, or you just don't survive. And I don't think Red Hat is even close to that position. But just in general, so I try to see it from both sides, and I know there's a lot going on, and this is all rapidly developing, and things keep coming up, and I'm just trying to I'm just trying to understand what each side of the fence is going through, and that's tough sometimes. It is. Let's see. Yes, well, happy you can make it. Thank you. Spinning up. Oh yeah. So Muddy, hey, we talked on Mastodon last night. Speaking of Mastodon, speaking of Muddy, yeah. Hey, so we're spinning up Mastodon today. Maybe maybe. This goes into my when I was talking about my 120, my 80, and then my 20 budget of where I focus my time. This would be in my 20 budget. And so I'm not sure if I want to spend my 20% of time that I have a week on that, but I do like it. So long story, I was on 15 Mastodons, like we all were. We were all just name grabbing in the beginning. I mean, maybe you were. I wasn't necessarily, but I got invited to a couple Mastodons. And plus I had the original Mastodon.social from a while ago. And so I hopped on that right away as soon as I heard about it. This was a couple of years ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago. And then the Fosstodon popped up, and then Hachyderm popped up, and all these other ones popped up, and I thought maybe this is the one I want to join, and I really didn't understand how things were federated, so I joined a couple, and then I was like, where the heck am I? Like, I am in the Fediverse. I'm on multiple Fediverses, and I had no idea how to manage it. Well, anyways, I ended up consolidating 3 of my Mastodon accounts into one. I learned that you can bring your followers with you, but you can't bring your post with you, which kind of stinks. I could export my post in some, XPub format, but then, the most instances don't let you import your feed. So anyways, I lost all my posts, whatever. That happens. But then I started thinking like, maybe I should just self-host this. And I went in looking into it. And I'm like, okay, you need Redis. What else do you need? You need Postgres. Okay. You need object storage. Okay. What else do I need? And I started thinking, well, I already have those three. Another nice to have was Elasticsearch for indexing and for searching your content on your instance. But I thought, hey, I might not need that because I really don't need to search my own instance if it's only me on there. So anyways, I've been considering it because I've already just did the whole like collapse down into one. And so now I'm just like, maybe I should host my own. So let's see. Last stream, I was able to catch preparing to set up my own LDAP server. Awesome. OpenDJ in my case, but I haven't had a whole lot of time I could spend on that since I'm kind of stuck trying to understand how I'm supposed to structure the data contained in LDAP. I also need to figure out how to set up Samba extensions. They're a very slow-moving project. I'll probably ask for some help from more experienced users on Discord when I finally have some time to get this up running. Yeah, I mean, most of my LDAP. So I've done Open LDAP a long time ago, and my other LDAP experience is Microsoft Active Directory. So I don't have a ton of input here or even experience with it. But OpenDJ, I'm sure some people in our Discord have used it before. I haven't, honestly. But yeah, good luck. And man, then getting Samba, man, it's wild thinking like doing this stuff with open versions of LDAP and open versions of Samba and getting it all working. And I assume then you're probably going to use Microsoft clients to connect to it, which sounds awesome. Sounds like a lot of work though, too. Brandon here and DBing and watching the stream. Normal for me. Haha. Remote work gets lonely. Listening to streamer. I follow helps. Awesome. Yeah, it does. Todoist. All right. This is going back to what should I use? Let's go back here. Let's see. Use Basecamp. I'm going here. Let's go here. Working on deploying. Here we go. Sorry. Let me go grab a drink real quick. And it's funny. I brought this drink and I didn't even open it. I thought, yeah, here's my drink and I'm all ready. I didn't even open it. So let me grab a sip. This is one of my favorite songs on my playlist. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. Anyways, Muddy, working on a deploy platform for Kubernetes at work. I wish I could share more here, but just here for the distraction. Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. Next. I know what you mean. You can't share what you're working on, but I'm glad I'm here to distract you. Maybe not. Zoid, trying to use Argo CD in a unique way. I want to use a remote Helm repo with values YAML from in another GOT repo. Can't seem to get it to work. Let me see. So using Argo CD in a unique way, I want to use a remote Helm repo with a values YAML file in another, I assume you mean Git repo. Can't seem to get it to work. That seems like it should work. Maybe. I don't know if you can do a remote values file with Argo CD. Could I do it with Flux? I think I could do it with Flux. So I use Flux, very similar, but GitOps tool to deploy and automate and IAC infrastructure as code, your Kubernetes stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I need to dive more into Argo CD. I think you can. Hey, Binary Patrick, thank you so much. Thanks for the follow and for the sub, Prime sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, you went from I just left my day job. Yeah, it is. There you go. I like that. I left my day job. I kind of did. Mostly true. Chuck Norris, I hope to also get Keycloak working finally. I had some trouble setting it up. The certificate of my Samba Active Directory into Keycloak certificate store. Once you start getting into like certificates and getting all that working, that's when I'm like, ooh, I'm pretty okay at certificates for like reverse proxies and proxies in general, like certificates for web. But man, getting certificates for Samba and AD. Ooh, that's next level. Next level. Let's see. Facial hair and hair get up to look at me like I'm a self-employed slash YouTuber. Yeah, yours is getting pretty long. I actually shaved. I had long hair and all kinds of stuff going on, and I was just like, all right, we're just gonna do this whole thing, same clip, kind of same clip, and I just did the top and the sides, and the front and the back, everything. It's awesome when you start buzz cutting everything. Let's see. I'm currently trying to figure out if I can repurpose my mid 2010 Mac Pro with TrueNAS Core, but on TrueNAS forums, there are users reporting on issues when booting, but on Apple forums, people seem to get dual boot the machine with FreeBSD. And looking at the spec sheet, I really can't make out any hardware issues. Any experience with repurposing Apple devices? Yeah, I was just talking about this. Yeah, I do have experience with repurposing Apple devices. I have an iMac that runs Windows. I have a Mac Mini that runs Linux. And I think that's it. But I haven't done a Mac Pro. I haven't done anything with a Mac Pro other than look at people on YouTube like MKBHD and others and think, man, that's a lot of money to spend on that. So no, I don't know, especially a 2010 Mac Pro. I assume that's the one that's rack mounted. So I don't have a ton of experience with that. I don't even know if it's Intel hardware in there, honestly. 2010 should be. But I don't know, honestly. I assume there's Xeons in there. So they should work, maybe. I don't know. I don't have any experience. But like I said, I have experience with iMacs and with Mac Minis, but both running Intel. I assume that Mac Pro, the 2010, has Xeons in there, and I assume it should work because it's an Intel platform. But I don't know. FreeBSD, the driver support on FreeBSD is lacking, I guess I should say, on newer stuff. But on older stuff, you would think it would just work. So I don't know. I wish I had an answer. Wish I had more experience with it. Currently migrating a development cluster to a new cluster and implementing Argo CD and Argo events, all via Terraform with a solid DR start and keeping it as code. Awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. This sounds right up my alley. I love it. You did all this with Ansible Playbook, looking to do the same. Oh yeah, that's going above. Yeah, for sure. Here we go. I got to get this one right. Tini Hiro. That was so bad. But anyways, I'm your fan from Argentina. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's see. I tried the whole Wirehole Docker image. Let's see this one. Arbin, I tried to install the Wirehole Docker image with the Unbound install. It didn't work. Had to give up. So I don't know Wirehole. I assume it's a combination of WireGuard and Pi-hole. A combination of words, but Wirehole. I got to check it out. I assume it's both. So yeah, sounds fun. DGB, DB crash loop sounds scary. It is. So this is going back to my Postgres database. I have 3 replicas, and one is in a crash loop, and it's been there since last night. I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to do a quick failover recovery for it, which in Postgres and Kubernetes, it's actually super easy to do. It's like the easiest recovery I've ever done. I've done recovery on MySQL, and I've done recovery on MongoDB, and I've done recovery on Postgres. I'm getting pretty good at it now. I will have some downtime from a database, but hopefully no one notices. So anyways, or I just live with 2 replicas and say, I'll deal with it when the next one goes down. Kind of want to go there. But then again, when I look at all my pods and I see one in a crash loop, I just feel like I got to fix it. Try medium hold pomade. Yeah, I have medium length curly hair and it works great for me. A slight slick back look. Going for full Malfoy. Hey, all right. So my hair grows forward, mostly. You can kind of see that it is. My hair's not even medium. My hair right now is like a 1/4 inch everywhere right now, so it's all weird right now. Like, and it grows in like different rates. But some pomade, I'll have to try that once it gets going. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I had buzz cut forever, then I was combing it to the side, then I was pulling it back in a ponytail. Now I shaved it all off. I feel like I want to try something else. I don't know. Trying something wild. AKA high and tight. I like it. I Sigor. I like it. High and tight. Celestial, European elite mind control people around the world, and every train of thought recorded a new train of thought are abolished in NPCs, so they're similar. What is going on here? Okay. Virtual Alex, what's up, Tim? Been here a while. Looking forward to putting in some home lab work this weekend. All right, let me know what you're working on for sure. For sure. Pruning backups with a cron job. Hey, I like it. I think I have most of my. Yeah, that's awesome. So most of my backup jobs, I have a time to live on them. So I have a time. Yeah, now it's looking really weird. I should just tucked it back in there. Tuck it in there. Most of my backup jobs have I guess time to live. Even some of my stuff in S3 has a time to live. Most of my S3 stuff has a time to live. So which is awesome and scary at the same time. If you set a time to live on something, if you create something in object storage. Like I have a bunch of my caching for my CI jobs just to speed up CI, and I say, hey, you can live for a week. After that, just expire, which is cool because it just means, hey, like if I build something multiple times throughout the week, it's going to use the cache, and if it doesn't touch that cache or get updated within a week, it's going to go away. And for most stuff in S3, that's pretty awesome. Same with some of my backups, it does the same thing. My backups in S3, I let them live a lot longer. But the scary thing is, unless I'm monitoring that and knowing that my backups are still working, I could expire one and expire, if they're not working. So anyways, curious how you prune them with a cron job. I assume you assume then they're dumped to disk. I assume it's by date. I assume you have some kind of naming convention. You parse that naming convention or look at the modified date or create date, and you say, hey, anything older than this create date, you just get rid of it. But you're kind of like in the same spot that I am. Like, what if one wasn't created and you just whack all the ones from 3 months ago and haven't created one in 3 months? So, yeah, curious how you do that. I try to automate most of my stuff and let things expire, and only keep a certain amount when I back up too. So I don't have a job that goes and cleans up. I let things expire, or like in the Proxmox way, I say, hey, at most keep 3. At most keep 3, which I think is a pretty nice way to do it, because if it keeps failing, it's not going to delete anything. Unlike a cron job that might just look at date. If the backup fails in Proxmox for my VMs, I'll still have a minimum of 3 because it hasn't been able to create one. Ader Lord, still working on video games. Now in the summer, there's more free time than before. Where's this free time? Hook me up. I want to make a multiplayer open source game in Unity. In the near future, I will try to rent a server in order to test the gaming online with my friends. I will also try to connect to Jenkins. I will also try to connect to the Jenkins server, or maybe rather Team City, in order to try CI/CD along with Unity. Hello, chat. You're great. Awesome. Yeah. So if you're building anything, I recommend getting CI and CD working in the beginning. At least the CI part. Why? Why have CI without the CD? Continuous integration. And why have, I'll ask myself a bunch of questions. Why have CI without unit tests? Why have CI in general? Well, I always set up CI. I go for the CD part too. My first commit, I make sure I can deploy all the way to production right away. That's my first, honestly, that's the very first thing I do, is make sure I have a pipeline to production, because I want to make sure that I can get code out as fast as possible. This is different. It's Unity game. Your production is probably an app store or something, or maybe it's on a server, but anyways. So then, why would you have CD by itself? Well, if you're using Unity and you're building a game in a certain language, you want to make sure it compiles every time. And so, that's where I would bring in CI. Even just to compile something, even if you don't have tests or anything, I would always bring in CI to say, hey, build or compile this thing every time I push or pull request or however you want to do it, just to make sure that the thing builds still, that you don't break the build, so that the next person who pulls it down, if you push something up, you break the build, the next person that pulls it down, now they're like, great, now you broke the build, can you fix the build because I can't build? And, you just stop that whole churn right there. So anyways, I would recommend getting CI in place very early on if you ever plan on writing any code or deploying anything in general. I personally would pave the whole path to production. It's a little bit different when you're doing games or apps, when your target's an app store. Although not, I've automated my apps all the way to the app store, all the way to Apple and Google, 100% automated. with just a couple of clicks. No clicks, I'm sorry, with just a single commit. But I would build that out, because once you get that pipeline to go all the way to production, then it's as fast as you can move, and which could be, it's a double-edged sword. And then that's when you start layering on more tests or more checks in your CI process. So anyways, it's super fun. But hey, I'm glad you found more time for games. It sounds awesome. You're building a game too, which always sounds awesome. Like everyone's, I think for a lot of gamers who also like development, that's kind of the dream, until they realize, wow, it's really hard to build a game. And on top of that, it's really hard to get people to buy your game. So that is awesome. I hope you like it. I hope you get you get Team City or Jenkins going, because the sooner you get that stuff in order, I think the faster you'll be able to go. What's up, Tim? Working on some banana bread while wrapping my head around client requirements for software change. All right, I'm a huge fan of banana bread. And why does banana bread and zucchini bread taste exactly alike? It's 100%. If I did a triple blind test with zucchini bread and banana bread and you gave it to me, I would not be able to tell the difference. Actually, I would, right next to each other. But if you gave me a piece, I don't know, a week apart, and I did it blindfold, I would not be able to tell. They're like the same thing. They're like how can zucchini bread taste just like banana bread? Anyways, we are IT folks. We're lazy. Writing the full word is just too much. Oh yeah, going back to internationalization. I like it. Do a wire hole install. It's a Docker container pre-configured with WireGuard, Pi-hole, and Unbound in a single pull. I like it. That's what we were talking about. I love that that they've combined those terms and called it wire hole. Good day, everyone. Been a while since I caught a live stream. Thanks to the new stream time. European. Working on setting up a personal cloud. Still can't decide on which software to start and looking at still. Okay, so you're thinking working on a personal cloud. Still can't decide on which software to start with. It depends on what you want in your cloud, right? My cloud has services and websites and stuff like that. Your cloud might be for productivity, right? If it is for productivity, when I hear people think about like, hey, I want to have my own cloud, it's usually file storage, productivity, keep my docs somewhere. And so with that, I would go with Nextcloud. I think Network Chuck just did a video on it, on setting up Nextcloud. I have some videos on setting up Nextcloud. It's super easy. You get a lot. You get a pretty good bang for your buck, which is $0, just your time. I will say though that if you're gonna use it like a real user, I would say like take the extra effort and not use the MySQL database and set it up right. I know that if you spin it up without a MySQL database, if you spin it up with the NoSQL database, which is the default install, can be a little slow. And you just got to think like, okay, if you're going to build a Google Docs replacement and a Dropbox replacement or a Google Drive replacement, you're going to have to throw a little bit of resources at it, because it's not free or cheap as far as compute goes. And I don't mean money. I mean it's expensive for compute, expensive operations, right? It doesn't necessarily mean money. Just compute cycles are kind of expensive for something like that. So make sure you give it some resources. If you're really going to do it and really going to go all in, make sure you give it a couple of cores, you give it enough RAM, you put it on high speed, disk, and then you separate out and you pull that MySQL database out. I would personally, and use a real MySQL database. I mean, pull the NoSQL database out. But anyways, it should be fine. If you're just experimenting, give it a shot. But if you're noticing performance stuff, I would say ignore the performance. Make sure it works for you functionally, and then if you like it, throw more resources at it. That's kind of my jam. Verizon is not playing. I assume. Nice. After the storms yesterday, keep losing services every hour. Ooh, that is not good. That is not good at all. Tim, if you need help with Postgres, shoot me a message. All right. I'm kind of okay at Postgres. Like I said, I'm running the Kubernetes. It's all fine. Just one of my replicas is just like in a crash loop, and my next step is scale down to 2 replicas, then scale back up and see if Kubernetes handles that fine. If it doesn't, I'm just gonna do a DR recovery because it's I've got it down now. I hate to admit it, but I know how to recover Postgres and Kubernetes really good. I think I got it down to about 5-6 minutes of downtime because I've done it so many times. Should just automate that. Let's see. Bill Nash. Been retiring spinning rust. Oh, I was like, you're retiring? Oh, wow, you're young, man. I've been retiring spinning rust from my entire home lab. I love it. Playing with the ASUS PCIe X16 4x4 terabyte M.2 in my ESXi box. With fan replacements, it's almost completely silent now. Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. So a couple things going on here with Bill Nash. What's up, nerd dude? Spinning rust. So getting rid of spinning rust. I'm a fan of that. Yeah, SSDs and especially M.2 drives are just like the price is on a free fall right now. Like it keeps getting cheaper and cheaper. Although, M.2 drives are falling a lot faster than, 2.5 whatever inch SSDs. It's free falling a lot faster. I wish that 2.5 inch drives, the price there would fall a little bit faster, but I think those manufacturers know what they're doing. They're keeping the prices a little bit higher. They're keeping it just high enough to be annoying, I think, so you just don't go out and replace all your drives with solid state drives, which I would love to do, mainly because of heat, and all that stuff that goes along with it, heat, power, seek, performance, all that stuff, noise, vibrations. But yeah, the prices on those are still like, don't get me wrong, they're cheap, but when you start to get into like, hey, I'm going to start replacing spinning rust like you are, then you start paying real money for it. But I bet the cost I paid for some of my 8 terabyte drives, I don't know, 4 years ago, are about the cost of SSDs now, 4 years later. I'll have to check, because if they are, then we might be kind of okay. Anyways, sounds awesome. I love that you're reducing power. You're using less spinning rust and replacing some fans. So you're less power, less heat, less noise. I like it. Sounds awesome. I agree, Sigor. Nice. Bill Nash, the house is creepy quiet now. Yeah. Is it creepy quiet like when the power goes out? Because that's creepy quiet, especially if you work in an enterprise where they pump in white noise. Oh, yeah. Talk about creepy quiet on data centers too. But if you work at a company where they pump in white noise, like a lot of larger enterprises do it, a couple places I worked did it, and when that white noise goes out or the power goes out, it is creepy quiet. Like you can hear people talking like, all the way across the room, and you're like, whoa, I never heard that person before in my entire life. But I know what creepy quiet is. It's like when the power goes out at work and the white noise machines turn off, you're like, whoa, this is weird. I can hear echoes and stuff now. So it is awesome. I need some creepy quiet at my house. It gets a little bit louder here in the summertime. I run a box fan. I run a couple of fans, and then on top of that, my fans for my servers are working a little bit harder. So we'll see. Let's see. Zendy. It's actually not a fresh install, but is my main driving PC ported to virtualize. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Zendy, I'm trying to figure out, did I skip over? Let's see. All right, guys, we're getting close. Xavius D, how's it going? Xavius D, Xavius D. WTF, is it Saturday? Boy, did I miss a day or two. Yeah, wake up, Xavius. It is Saturday. Where you been, man? No, it's Friday. It's Friday, switching things up a little bit. Just trying to compartmentalize what I'm doing now into a work week. Because this is now my work week. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I was just testing this out today. We'll see how it goes. If you guys like it, I might continue to do it and give you guys your Saturday back. And maybe I could have my Saturday back too. So not that I didn't mind doing it, but it's kind of nice doing it through the week. Let's see really quick here. Bonsal. Hey, Tim, what's up? I started building my home lab and started finding the proper router for my home lab. I'm considering the OpenSense, but I'm also looking at MikroTik. What do you think about MikroTik compared to OpenSense, pfSense, and maybe ClearOS IP Fire? Wow, lots of things going on in there. So let me tell you about what I know and what I don't know. Okay, ClearOS IP Fire. Definitely older. I think ClearOS used to be called Clark Connect or something. I don't know. I'm digging deep in my memory bank, and this might be, maybe I'm misremembering. But ClearOS, it's an all-in-one OS that also does firewall router stuff. IP Fire, also older stuff too. I haven't looked at those in a while. Actually, I did look at ClearOS not too long ago for some random reason. I did, but yeah, looks cool. Oh, I did look at it because I was thinking about my mobile home lab maybe running ClearOS if it supported Wi-Fi for some of my wireless NICs in my travel router. But so those are older. I mean, I'm sure they're fine and work great. I haven't looked at them in a long time. PFSense, OpenSense, solid. Both are great choices. PFSense, obviously, great choice. OpenSense, another great choice if you want more updated stuff. You know, a lot of people are going to say, hey, I'm in OpenSense camp. I'm in PFSense camp. But at the end of the day, the senses, I'll say the senses, are a great choice. How do they compare to MikroTik? I can't compare them because I've never worked with a MikroTik device. So it's a whole lot of nothing. But I mean, it depends on the MikroTik device you're looking for. I mean, now you're saying, hey, I want a MikroTik, so I assume you're going for router / firewall / gateway / switch, which, you know, a lot. This is probably unpopular opinion, but, you know, a dedicated device is going to, I don't know, maybe be more stable, less maintenance, but you run the risk of it not being supported someday, which then throws you back in this sense camp. So it's kind of up to you. It depends on what you want to build and support. I will say, once you start building stuff for OpenSense, depending on the device, depending on the hardware, depending on what you want to build, the TCO, the total cost of ownership, over time might be more expensive than just buying a MikroTik device and having it just work. Not to mention, it might use more power and yada, 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 you name it. But at the same time, it gives you a ton of flexibility. So you can use it, you can build it, you can scrap it if you don't want to anymore and throw something else on it if you're going to use that dedicated hardware. So it's tough. It's tough. I don't have experience with MikroTik, so I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going from like an embedded, you know, managed device from a company versus an open device with commodity hardware. That's what I'm comparing it to. And so you just kind of got to weigh it. I think you can experiment really fast for free with PFSense and OpenSense. You could do it today. You could do it in a virtual machine. You could test it out before you drive, so you can test drive this thing. So, and if you don't want to virtualize it, throw it on some older hardware and you know, run it. Maybe you can't run, you know, IPS and IDS and Suricata and all that stuff on it, but you can figure out if you like that experience. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one that's supporting it, and you know, the operator experience is huge for some people. And that'll make or break what you buy, you know. And a lot of people don't talk about like the operator experience or the support experience or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Is OpX is OpX a term? Because if not, I'm gonna make it up right now. But you know, what is the operator experience like on PFSense and OpenSense? You know, pretty good, pretty okay. I mean, there's a lot of documentation on it. What is it for MikroTik? I have no idea. I will say what the operator experience is for Unify is fantastic, and that's why I choose it. So, but on MikroTik, I assume it's very similar. Can I make up terms? I like OpX. OpX. That's my new term. What's the operator experience like? Does that exist? OpX? Operational expenditure? Well, I was thinking like the operator experience. Like you have UX, you know, the user experience, and I could say the UX, but you know. But I get it. We're all users of these interfaces, but you know, it's not the typical. I'm trying to blend in what it means to support and maintain stuff through the UI that they've been given to you. So OpX, I'll call it OpX. It exists. It is. Oh man, dang it! I thought I came up with a new term. Anyways. But I'm thinking of it not operational expenditure. I'm thinking of it like in UX terms, or like some people say, you know, DevX. What's the developer experience like? You know, I wouldn't say what's the user experience like for React tooling, even though that's technically what it is. You ask people, what's the DevX like? What's the developer experience like? And so I'm gonna coin a new term, OpX. Operation, what's the operator's experience like? And so anyways, that's what it's gonna come down to for you. Like if you are comfortable with supporting your network with either of these two devices, it's gonna come down to, you know, one of those two camps that you're in. Do you want your operator experience from a company or from an open source you know, distribution where you have a ton of flexibility? You could even scrap it and do whatever you want and have a ton of documentation. Or do you just want to buy the device and get something that's supported by another company, get firmware updates, it runs great, it's very efficient, but run the risk of something happening down the road to where, hey, it might not work for you or you might not get an update in the future. Anyways, yeah. Ooh, it's I'm going over time. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look for just a couple of more. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Oh man, this one's a tough one. I don't know if I could touch that in the last minute that I have or so. Hi Tim, hope you're fine. Microsoft plans no further Windows versions to install on your PC after Windows 11. They want to sell Windows 365 in the cloud for a really expensive yearly monthly plan. What do you think about their plans? I don't know. I haven't read that news. I haven't read that news. I don't know how that. I'm gonna have to. I might have to fact check on this one, and I'm not saying you're wrong. There might be a headline somewhere that says that somewhere, but I'm gonna have to read a little bit further into that to make sure that the headline actually matches what you're saying, because I find that. I don't know, a little bit hard to believe that all of a sudden, like, everything's going to be a cloud device only in the cloud, especially when you got gamers, developers, everything that I'm running here will not run in the cloud. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if you're trolling me right now, because that would be, I feel like a death move for Microsoft to say, hey, you only can have VMs now, is kind of what you're saying there. It's a really expensive subscription yearly plan. And that no further Windows versions. They want to sell this in the cloud. Because that would be, I mean, it would, I don't know. I'm going to call it troll. I'm going to call it troll. Because, or misinformed, or maybe not true. Only because there is no way that would work for me. For me, streaming right now. Like, I have a card in here. I have a 4-port HDMI card. I have a video card. I have a sound card. I have a physical soundboard that I can, do this with right here. And I don't know how that would, I mean, maybe it could work in the cloud, but on a low latency device, I don't see how that would work. Even with the fast, even with like USB pass-through and all that stuff that you can do on a local network, you guys know, even a latency of 100 milliseconds when talking, if you're going to do Teams through a virtual machine, not great. So anyways, I don't know. Maybe for just like, total low-end stuff, but I would assume they would still have a Windows Pro. Maybe they're just offering this as an alternative for people to do. I could see that where, hey, my whatever, I don't know, my made-up friend who only has an iPad, and they were just like, I want to run Windows, but I don't want to build a Windows machine at home. Who wants that big honking thing in here? And so I'm gonna connect to Azure and get a virtual machine, which you can do now, but it's not consumer friendly. So maybe they're just, I'm speculating on this speculation, but maybe what they're trying to do is say, hey, we're going to give you a consumer friendly version of Windows in the cloud, like we do for Office 365, and give you a, consumer friendly, I guess, version of Office in the cloud. And if you think about it, if we're still going to compare this to Office 365, they still sell the physical version of physical. You can still install Office on your machine, or you can run it in the cloud, which is Office 365 only, but you can still install it on your machine if you want, if you don't want to run the web version of Office, I think. Anyways, I don't know. There's a lot. I'm going to do some reading. But anyways, it's interesting. That's why I didn't want to leave on this one, because I'm like, oh, that would be tough. So if we play that out, what does that mean? That would mean like I couldn't do this anymore. I have to switch to Linux or Mac, because I need hardware to run my stream. A lot of gamers would say, I'm done. Hurry up and give me some alternative that runs my games. A lot of production companies that, record and edit and do all kinds of media production would say, I'm not connecting to the cloud. So yeah, so I think there's a lot there that I think maybe is getting lost in the headline. So anyways, hey, wow, like today was awesome. Today was awesome. Thanks for joining in on a Friday. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. It's a little bit later than I said it would end, but I hope that's okay. Thank you so much. There was bits, there was follows, there was subs, there was resubs. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Never required, but always appreciated. I won't be here on Saturday because this was my Saturday for me. Well, not my Saturday, but your Saturday, I guess. So this was my Friday, kind of your Saturday of when I would normally tune in. I'll see how this went. I'll get some feedback. I'll do some numbers, and I'll see if this is going to work on Fridays. I kind of enjoyed it. It kickstarted my Friday for sure, because usually I'm not this amped up at 10 o'clock in the morning. So, so I'm yeah. So, anyways, have a great weekend. I will be available on Discord if there's something you wanna you wanna share, something I didn't get to. If you want to say, hey, you didn't read my stuff. Feel free to post it in Discord, and I will definitely try to follow up with you. Just ping me. There, Twitter, wherever. Have a great have a great weekend, a whole weekend. If you need me, ping me. I'll be on Discord, and I should have something out for you very soon if I can finish editing this thing that I've been working on, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's pretty cool automation stuff, a little bit of GitOps mixed in, and you'll see. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in on Friday. Thank your employer for letting you take some time out to continue your education. We'll put it that way. And look for my invoice at your cost center. Be sure to approve it. Anyways, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And take care, folks. Be good to each other. Take care.